Hey everybody, it's Modern Refugee. Gonna do another cooking video here. Of course, this isn't really cooking, it's kind of making sausage. I'm gonna show you guys how to I make just my real simple bulk pork sausage with Boston butt pork roast here. As you can see, it was fairly inexpensive. It was $1.19 a pound. I'm gonna cut the meat off of the bone here. I'm gonna kind of chunk that up, and then I'm gonna grind it here in my KitchenAid. And if you can afford a KitchenAid, they're great. The only attachment I have for my KitchenAid is a grinder. I use it to make sausage. I use it to grind my homemade masa dough that I make with my local corn. And I use it to make bread with. If I got a larger quantity of stuff that I want to make, it really kind of takes the arm work out of it. I mean, of course, you can have a hand grinder too. Those are also great. But if I got to make a larger amount of stuff for more people, then this KitchenAid really kind of helps me out. This is the seasoning that I use. I use an Eastman seasoning that's made here in Michigan. It's made in Flushing, which is a town kind of down in southern Michigan. Anyway, I'm going to use this today. Of course, you don't have to use this kind of seasoning. Most bulk pork sausage only has a few ingredients in it as far as seasoning goes. Just kind of a salt, pepper, garlic powder. You can use sage, you can use thyme, you can use marjoram. All those make really great pork sausage. Kind of what I tell people when they're first starting to make bulk pork sausage is kind of grind your pork. Get most homemade pork sausage that you're going to make is going to be leaner than anything that you can buy in the store. But try out your seasonings. Do just a simple salt, pepper, garlic powder, a little bit of thyme, a little bit of marjoram. Mix it up in a small batch, and then cook a patty. See what it tastes like to you. And if you like a little more seasoning, you can add a little more seasoning. I'm actually going to take this seasoning here, and I'm going to add a little bit more black pepper to it because I like it a little bit more peppery than what this seasoning is here by itself. But this is kind of a good seasoning to have. It's just if you want to make something quick. One package does about 5 pounds. A package of that seasoning doesn't cost very much. But anyway, the only other thing that you got to have is you got to have a scale so you can measure out your meat. Like I said, I'm going to do about 5 pounds today. But when I get this going here, I'm going to kind of show you what it looks like and how I go about doing this. Well, here's my first Boston butt roast all cut up. I used a fillet knife. It's just a fillet knife that you'd use to fillet fish with. I like those best for deboning meat. As you can see there's a fair amount of fat in that, and I kind of like the Boston butt roasts because of the fat to lean ratio. I think it makes a really good sausage, so when you're cooking your sausage, you don't have an inch of fat in the pan when you're done cooking it, so you get a little bit more out of it. And the bone that came out of that, this guy right here, I'm actually going to save this bone. I'm going to put it in a Ziploc bag along with the one from the other roast, and I'm going to freeze that. And then the next time I cook beans, I'm going to add this with a little bit of ham seasoning into my beans, and then I'm going to cook that along with it, and it's going to flavor my beans. So I always keep the bones when I debone meat, and I use them again. That way I get 100% out of my purchase kind of. So anyway, just kind of wanted to show you guys that. That's kind of the size pieces that I run through the grinder to make my pork sausage. So anyway, when I get going doing the pork sausage, I'm going to show you what that looks like through the grinder. Alright, here's my pork after the first grind, and now at this point is when I'm going to add my seasoning into it. And you can see it's kind of lean, much leaner than normal bulk pork sausage. But like I said, then you don't have a lot of waste when you cook fat out. You got a little bit more solid sausage, and I think it just tastes better. But anyway, this is my seasoning mix. I got my seasoning mix, plus I'm going to add a little extra into it. I'm going to add about a tablespoon and a half of black pepper, and I'm going to add about a tablespoon of dried thyme. Okay, I see my dried thyme there. That's the thyme that I actually grew last summer. Thyme, marjoram, and sage are all really good herbs to add into sausage. Another thing you can add paprika into it. You can add red pepper flake. It's kind of whatever that you really like. You can certainly experiment. Sausage is one of those things that every ethnicity and every region has their own take on it, and this is just kind of mine. So anyway, I'm going to show you how. All I do is I'm just going to add this into my ground meat right here. Now I'm going to work that through good, and when I got that worked in, I'm going to run it through the grinder one more time, and it'll be done. And here's what it looks like after the second grind. You can kind of see the texture on it there. I like grinding it twice because I think it does a better job of dispersing the seasoning in the meat, so you have a better product. And I like the texture too if it's ground twice. Now at this point, if you want to, you could case this. You could put this in casings, and that way you could hang it and smoke it. And if you prefer like a smoked sausage, you could certainly do that. You can take this meat right now and just package it up and put it in the freezer too, and use it for bulk pork sausage for breakfast or breakfast burritos. You can also mix this with beef or venison. If you got some wild venison, you could definitely mix this with that, and that'd give it a little bit more fat, a little bit more flavor, and then you could make meatballs or meatloaf, something like that with it. But this is just my basic pork sausage recipe here. It's kind of what it looks like. I'm actually going to make some meatballs with this tonight, and whatever's left I'm going to freeze it up. But anyway, that's just kind of a simple bulk pork sausage that has a couple different uses that I thought I'd show everybody. It doesn't take much to make it, and you kind of know what's in your sausage then. I mean, it's just going to, all what's in this is pork and seasoning. There's no extra water, there's no extra chemicals or anything in this. It's just straight up like it should be. Anyway, this is Modern Refugee. I appreciate all my subscribers out there. I hope you're getting some information from my videos. Hope it's giving you some ideas on some things you could do yourself. You guys all have a great day.